The Bengals were dealt some extremely bad news this week, and right now, their only goal is to make sure the situation as a whole doesn't get any worse. So in this video, I'll explain how they can avoid doing just that. Hi again, Bengals fans. John Sheeran of TE Sports Cincinnati here, and I'm going to be honest, this is not a video that I'm going to enjoy making because, quite frankly, I haven't felt this gutted for a Bengals player in quite some time. A report from The Athletic's Paul Dehner Jr. states that Bengals tight end Erick All is going to miss the entire 2025 season due to his torn ACL. Now, just to go over the timeline real quick here, Erick All suffers his first torn ACL in October of 2023. It essentially ends his college career and ends his time in Iowa. He has surgery a couple weeks later to repair it. Fast forward 13 months, in November of 2024, Erick All suffers another torn ACL, this time for the Bengals, this time ending his rookie season. And now a couple months later, we have this report that he's going to be out for the entirety of 2025. Because he didn't just tear any ligament in his body. No, he retore the same ACL that he tore during his last season at college in 2023. Now, in general, ACL tears and surgeries aren't as severe as they used to be for NFL players. Guys can come back anywhere between 6 to 9 months. 9 months is typically the range that you would expect now. Like Erick All took 9 months actually to recover from his first ACL tear from October 2023 to July of 2024, which is why he was able to contribute for most of his first training camp with the Bengals. But because this is the same ACL that he had surgically repaired about a year prior to, there are complications with this new injury that requires not one, but 2 surgeries. And according to Dehner Jr., he already had that first surgery, but now he has to have another that's going to happen in the coming months. So essentially you add on 9 months to the second surgery, and that's when maybe he can come back. And at that point, you're really taking 2025 off the table. If it hasn't happened by now, say it happens in April, right? 9 months after April, that's January 2026 right there. And again, I can't emphasize how gutted I am for Erick in this case, because not only did he tear the same ACL twice in 13 months, but he also had a major back injury back at his time in Michigan, which is why he ended up in Iowa in the first place. It was considered to be career ending, and a lot of teams had questions about that, and he had to clarify to NFL teams that no, my back is perfectly fine, but my knee, it just had surgery, so maybe that's going to be a little bit of a problem. And even long before he was a football player, man, he almost died in a house fire as an infant. If it wasn't for the courageous act of a fireman, he might even be around today. So first and foremost, my thoughts just go out to Erick All, who is sitting here in January 2025 having to go through the same, if not more complicated recovery process, knowing that he's probably not going to see the field until September 2026. And that is just absolutely brutal. And unfortunately for the Bengals, they can only feel sorry for Erick All for so long before realizing that they're going to have to move on without him at least for the 2025 season. As of right now, they have 3 tight ends not named Erick All who are able to play and under contract for 2025. That's Drew Sample, Cam Grandy, and Tanner McLaughlin. Obviously, those 3 aren't enough to complete a full tight end room entering a full NFL offseason, so there are going to be some additions that are to be had. You can re-sign Mike Gesicki, even though he's technically a big slot. I'm sure Tanner Hudson is also not going to be that expensive to re-sign. But as it stands right now, I don't think the Bengals should be so pressed as to forcing a draft pick on the tight end position, because as it looks, this doesn't seem to be that strong of a tight end class. Like I was talking to my boys at Gridiron Grading who do a phenomenal job of breaking down production and athleticism profiles for draft prospects at all positions, and they were saying, yeah, this tight end class may be filled with a bunch of tight end number 2s, but it's not that strong compared to classes of 2023 and 2024 where the Bengals were much more interested in drafting at that position. Like the Bengals only have 6 picks right now, and a lot of them are going to be spent on defensive linemen, offensive linemen, maybe throwing a linebacker in there. I don't know if you have room to draft a tight end who, let's be honest, is not going to have that high of a floor like Erick All had. So this just creates a very unfortunate situation where you have a glaring need at tight end, but you don't want to burn a pick there if it's not going to be worth it compared to other positions that you also need. I think this is greatly going to impact how the Bengals view the position in free agency. Maybe it's going to increase their aggressiveness to bring back Mike Gesicki, or maybe expand their horizons about bringing in other tight ends in free agency. But as it pertains to the draft, if a class at a certain position is not very strong, then you shouldn't be throwing picks at it just for the sake of need. Like just at first glance, this class looks incredibly strong at defensive tackle, edge rusher, running back, and it just so happens that those are also needs that the Bengals have, so it kind of aligns up pretty well. But the worst thing the Bengals can do with this Erick All news is to just burn a pick at tight end, unless that player is worth it. Like I know a lot of people love Penn State tight end Tyler Warren. We'll see if he's worth that 17th overall pick if he's there, but again, you don't want to be wasting picks on bad players for the sake of need. We still have a long way from here until the NFL draft, and there's so many other things to talk about it there, and we'll have it covered right here on A to Z Sports Cincinnati.